September 10th, 2023. The atmosphere was electric as Mexican rapper Peso Pluma took the stage in front of a massive crowd of 100,000 fans. In a gutsy move, he chose to honor the notorious drug lord El Chapo. This risky tribute didn't sit well with the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, leading to a scary reaction that really rattled Peso Pluma. Here are 10 times rappers played with the wrong cartels. Number 10. Mr. Yos Lot. Sometimes the city shows its darker side in shocking ways. And here's a story that ties in fame with the underworld. Back on April 19, 2018, in Guadalajara, known just not for its tequila, a startling find was made. They discovered the body of 42-year-old rapper Mr. Yos Lot in an empty lot, along with a screwdriver and a scary note. Born in Bakersfield, California in 1976, Mr. Lot moved to Guadalajara to follow his dreams and music, making a name for himself with popular tracks like Bazos and Esto. He even got dubbed the Mexico's Snoop Dogg for his big influence on the local rap scene. But with fame came risky ties. Mr. Lot was linked to some dangerous people and gangs, like El Cholo and rival groups of the CJNG cartel, and even LA's Florence 13 and the Sureños. These associations made him a marked man in Guadalajara's violent fights over territory. His abduction by CJNG members on April 17, 2018 was a clear threat, and his murder 2 days later was meant to weaken his and his group's power in the region. Even though his death was dramatic, Mr. Lacote's story quickly got overshadowed by other big international news, like the arrest of another rapper the next week. Number 9. Peso Pluma. Peso Pluma, a fresh face from Zapopan, Jalisco, really shook things up in 2023 at a Mexico City music festival by giving a nod to El Chapo, sparking a ton of debate. His real name is Hassan Emilio Cabanda, and he popped onto the scene with his knack for playing the guitar he picked up on his own and diving into narco corrido music. This genre, which tells raw and real stories much like Chelino Sanchez did, saw Peso Pluma rise to fame, especially after his third album, Genesis, hit number 3 on the Billboard All-Genre Album Chart in July 2022. But climbing up the fame ladder came with its own set of dangers. His lyrics, especially from the song Siempre Listos, that drops El Chapo's name, really ticked off the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, or CJNG. By September 2023, things got heated in Tijuana with threats on his life and banners telling him to cancel his next concert. Despite these warnings, Peso Pluma, who was gearing up for an MTV Video Music Award performance in the US, seemed to shrug it off at first. But in the end, thinking of his safety, he made the hard choice to cancel the Tijuana show to dodge trouble stirred by his daring lyrics. Number 8. El Shaka. It was a really strange day when Sergio Vega, also known as El Shaka, was in the middle of an interview trying to squash rumors that he had died, rumors that even his mom found upsetting. Ironically, just a few hours after he confirmed he was still alive, he faced a tragic end. That same evening, while he was heading to a concert in Angostura, Sinaloa, his car was attacked and forced off the road by gunmen, and he didn't survive the assault. This terrible event shook his fans and the whole grupero music scene where Vega was a big name. He was known for his narco corrido songs that tell stories about cartel leaders, a style that, while it pulls in a lot of fans, is also linked to a lot of violence and has led to the deaths of many musicians. Vega's own death added to the frightening number. Since 2006, over 22,000 people have been killed in drug-related violence, sparking heated debates and calls to ban this type of music. Despite the dangers, Vega had left his family band back in the 90s to start Los Reos del Norte. He became famous for his bold and faith-driven approach to music, fully knowing the risks involved. Number 7. Jam Master Jay. Now talking about Jam Master Jay, whose real name was Jason Mizell, he was a huge deal in the hip-hop scene and a key member of the iconic group Run DMC. His DJ skills and fresh ideas helped push hip-hop into the mainstream back in the 1980s. The group really mixed things up by blending rock with rap, especially with their hit Walk This Way with Aerosmith, breaking all sorts of musical rules. They also stood out by promoting a drug-free lifestyle, which earned them a lot of respect. Even with his success, Jam Master Jay hit hard times financially as the group's fame started to wane, leading him to get involved in the drug business. Sadly, he was killed in his recording studio on October 30th, 2002. The investigation into his death struggled because witnesses wouldn't come forward, and the mystery of his murder went unsolved for nearly 20 years, causing a lot of pain for his family and fans. The case finally saw some resolution when a federal jury in Brooklyn convicted Carl Jordan Jr. and Ronald Washington of his murder. This verdict, after so many years, brought some closure to this long and painful chapter in hip-hop's history. Number 6. QBA. Crossing your own people is a big no-no in cartel operations, but rapper QBA, real name Christian Palma, did just that on April 22, 2018. Offstage, he was deeply into shady stuff under a boss named El Meno. His music, called Rap Malandro, painted a raw picture of Mexico's tough drug world, showing life on the streets and Jalisco's toughest parts. Things took a bad turn on March 19, 2018, when QBA and his crew mistakenly kidnapped 3 film students, Gastelum Salman, Daniel Diaz, and Marco Avalos in Tonala. The students were just filming on a ranch owned by the CJNG cartel and got mistaken for their rivals. Their disappearance sparked a massive uproar. Under heavy pressure, QBA and his team hid their tracks, disposing of evidence for just a small amount of cash. When the cops got him, QBA spilled everything. He opened up about his connections to the CJNG and their meth business. His decisions to confess was influenced by the murder of his close friend, Luis Sabo Estrada, by the cartel, putting him in a tough spot. Despite his flip, some fellow rappers like A.B. Perez supported him, even dropping a song, Free QBA. Now staring at up to 140 years in Puente Grande prison, QBA lives in fear of cartel vengeance, a harsh lesson on the price of betrayal. Number 5. Valentin Elizalde. Back in 2006, a huge shock hit fans of Mexican norteño music when Valentin Elizalde, who everyone called the Golden Rooster, was tragically killed. He was only 27 years old, and it happened right after he had finished singing in Reynosa, Tamaulipas. The attack was brutal, and sadly his driver and manager were also lost in the incident. Valentin wasn't just starting out. He was making big waves in norteño, grupero, and banda music scenes with his awesome accordion tunes. Even though his albums didn't hit the top charts while he was alive, his album Vencedor, released in 2006, really took off after his death, becoming the best-selling Latin album in early 2007. His videos started getting millions of views on YouTube, showing just how much people still loved his music. As Universal Music Latino's boss, John Echevarria, pointed out. Now, choosing to perform in Tamaulipas was a risky move. He had been warned to steer clear because of the dangers from a big-time local gang. Valentin also got into a bit of a mess because of his songs like A Mis Enemigos, which kind of gave a nod to some gang leaders and even ended up in a gang-related video online, sparking some serious online fights between rival groups. Despite the risks, Valentin always said his music was just him being real about the life and culture around him, even though it was pretty tough stuff. Number 4. Chelino Sanchez. Have you ever come across Chelino Sanchez? He was more than just a rapper. His music told stories about the ups and downs of life, showing how tough things were for him. Growing up as one of 8 kids in a poor family, Chelino faced a lot of challenges early on. Things got really intense when he stood up to El Chapo Perez after his sister was hurt. As a teenager, he had to run away to Tijuana, a city full of hope and struggles. While living in Los Angeles with his brother, Chelino took some risky paths, but it was during a time in prison that he really found his talent. He started writing narco corridos, songs that tell dark, true stories. These songs hit home for many in LA, turning Chelino into a symbol of struggle for a lot of people. But being famous can be dangerous. After a close call at a concert, his last show ended in disaster. Right after he got off stage, men pretending to be cops said their boss wanted to meet him. Tragically, he was found dead by a canal the next day, and no one really knows what happened. Despite all the rumors about his death, Chelino's music lives on, showing his bravery in facing life's tough moments. Number 3. Lefty SM. Lefty SM, a standout rapper from Mexico with a story that's hard to forget. On September 2nd, 2020, something terrible happened at his home in Jalisco, Mexico. Some think it was a robbery, but his wife is sure it was a planned attack. Lefty was born in 1992 in San Luis Rio, Colorado, and started his music career at 16 while working as a mechanic. He mixed hardcore hip-hop with smooth G-funk, which caught the eye of Alzada Records. By 2017, he had a whopping 2.5 million YouTube followers, and his 2019 album Avión de Papel was a big hit. He worked with artists like Santa Fe Clan, Neto Peña, and MC Davo, and his last big concert was in Mexico City right before this tragedy. On that tragic night, Lefty and his wife Isa Maria were just chilling at home when suddenly intruders stormed in. The situation turned violent and Lefty was badly hurt. He didn't survive, passing away at 1:15 a.m. What really happened that night is still a mystery, possibly tied to local rivalries. Number 2. Sergio Gomez. Back in 2007, the Duranguense music scene faced a huge shock when Sergio Gomez, a well-loved singer, performed his last concert in front of 20,000 fans. Sadly, nobody knew it would be his last. The next day, news broke that he had been murdered at just 34 years old. This terrible event shook his fans and pointed to a scary pattern where musicians were often the targets of violent crimes, sometimes orchestrated by dangerous people in the shadows. The effect of Gomez's death was massive. Big bands like Patrulla 81 stopped their tours, scared by the growing dangers in the music world. This problem of musicians mixing with risky characters wasn't just in Mexico, but also reached into the US, and it had been going on for decades. Nowadays, some musicians talk about these dangerous connections in their songs. They might get financial support from these risky associations, but they'll also face big dangers if they upset the wrong person. This situation shows the tough side of the music industry, where the challenges are not only about making good music, but also about navigating some really serious risks. Number 1. Mac Dre. Mac Dre's journey from the rough streets to the spotlight is something else. Early on, he was connected with the Romper Room gang, who were known for their criminal deeds. This association got him a lot of attention, not all of it good, especially from the cops. Things got even stickier when Corey DeAndre, trying to get out of his own legal troubles, agreed to wear a wire and spy on Mac Dre. Corey ended up collecting evidence that tied Mac Dre even closer to the gang's activities. The pressure really mounted in March 1992 after a concert in Fresno. The FBI and local police thought Mac Dre and his group were planning something big, maybe even a bank heist. Even though Mac Dre said he was just chilling in a motel, the evidence piled up against him. The cops found a gun linked to other crimes and a tape of him talking about messing with security cameras. This all led to him being locked up for 5 years on conspiracy charges. Even from behind bars, Mac Dre kept his music going, famously recording an album over the prison phone. Sadly, his life ended abruptly in November 2004 when he was shot in his van, a murder that remains a mystery and left everyone wondering about his tumultuous life and early death.